Well, let's not go in order then. Let's get right to Godzilla. Now, obviously, sure. Godzilla has played a part in your life since the days of Catholic school and your Bibles. What was the attraction to him?
I mean, I think Godzilla works on multiple levels. You know, there's the obvious surface level of it's a giant monster destroying things. So that already is exciting enough. And visceral enough, and especially if you throw two or more giant monsters in the same city beating the crap out of each other, it only makes it more enticing. And I think it works on that very sort of obvious level. But I like to say that I think Young would have a field day with the kaiju genre, because underneath all of that, underneath all the visceral thrills, you have the allegory of Godzilla and the giant monsters. And when I was a kid, I was so obsessed with the character because they had the Saturday morning Hanna-Barbera cartoon,
right.
which definitely helped foster that love.
Was that where you were first exposed to Godzilla?
No, it was the old monster movies first.
Right. Like the original?
Yeah, the original.
The 1954? Yeah.
No, I went back. It was funny because cable, they just showed whatever title they had available.
Right.
They didn't
Throw
care.
it against the wall.
Yeah. So I was introduced to the 70s films first, which were very vivid and colorful, and that was when Toho was purposely engineering the movies to cater to kids.
Right.
And so I started there and went back to the black and white movie, and worked my way back to King Kong and the Ray Harryhausen films. And it just became sort of this stew of the cartoon and the old movies, and
where Godzilla is always battling some color.
Yeah, but what I loved is that as I researched the character more, I would go to the local library and there may be 2 books on the character. And the first book was this old kid's book about the making of the film.
Really?
Like black and white photos and very...
Of the original
film. Of the original... well, just... It was sort of an analysis of the character and the film series. But it didn't shy away, even though it's a kid's book, clearly written for 5 to 6-year-olds. It explained how the character and the film series was created by the Japanese as an allegory for what they went through, after having 2 atomic bombs dropped on them. That there was a very sort of serious, morose message being communicated through this very seemingly tongue-in-cheek giant monster story.
Although in the first movie, it's not at all tongue-in-cheek. It's
no,
very serious.
Exactly. Yeah.
And most people have only seen the American version with the Raymond Burr sequences cut into it.
Yeah.
But Gojira, the original Japanese movie, is a really straightforward metaphor for World War II, which had happened, only 9 years before it concluded.
Yeah, and it's almost mournful in its tone.
Very.
It's not the knee slapper.
No, it's got a melancholy about it.
Exactly, which I loved. And I think that really made it matter to me as a kid. I understood its importance. It was the first time I learned that a film could have something to say, that a film doesn't always just have to be about entertainment value or blood and guts, that if you craft a film well, it works on multiple levels. And it was almost, I think what I really appreciated about it is that it was subversive. That it was sort of sneaking some nutritional value or some vitamins into your dessert. Because who doesn't love Godzilla? But then it's like, when you know that, you then go back and look at the whole series, and even some of the goofier Godzilla films still had very clear environmental messages to it. But it allowed me to look at my favorite films, whether they be Star Wars or Alien, and try and see what other messages or ideas are being communicated here beyond just what we see on the surface.
Do you find that Fantastic Film offers a particularly unique opportunity to provide metaphor and allegory? And
yeah, I think it can. But the more recent developments, where I had just finished doing Krampus for Legendary, and I was taking just a little bit of a break, trying to figure out what's next, and I had dinner with Alex Garcia, one of the execs at the studio, and he very quietly said that Gareth Edwards wasn't going to be coming back, and he wanted to know if I had any interest in taking the helm, and I think I said yes before we could finish answering the question. And so that was about 2 years ago, and so it's been the process of putting together the story. We did a writer's room. Took about a year to work on the script while also doing visual development at the same time. And I just finished shooting it a week ago.
Wow, you must be tired.
I'm very tired.
And now, did you, as an artist and as an illustrator, did you do illustrations and storyboards for yourself, or designs for the Godzilla creature and all?
Doodles. I mean, I surrounded myself with such an amazing roster of creature designers and storyboard artists, and a very talented production designer named Scott Chambliss, that every time I felt like I had to bust out my sketch pad, it turns out there was someone much better.
Yeah.
You know, like I can draw, but there are people who are much better than I am. And so I find that I tend to only bother if I feel like I have to. Although I do need to design some new monsters for this one beyond our initial 4.